This is all about Bitcoin, a show dedicated to all things questions and markets related to Bitcoin, little b for the currency, and Bitcoin, big B for the network. A collective journey to understand, apply, and use this innovation, all Bitcoin, all the time. I'm your host, Christine Lee. Let's have a live look at Bitcoin right now. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XBX index trading at $50,448. Bitcoin is down about 1% over the past 24 hours. The most reliable reference prices for institutions since 2014 are now published under the CoinDesk brand, trusted globally as the leader in crypto news, events, and data.
The chart of the day is brought to you by Crypto.com, the world's fastest growing crypto app.
So Bitcoin stabilizing around the $50,000 price level after a near 20% sell-off over the past weekend. This Glassnode chart showing that support failed to hold and triggered a full wave of liquidations as the lower price was hit each time down there. Crypto trading advisory firm CEC Capital is saying that both Bitcoin and Ether remain vulnerable to price pullbacks fueled by leverage washouts, specifying that this is skewed to long liquidations, which will inevitably put downward pressure on BTC. According to the data site CoinGlass, some 187 million of crypto trading positions were liquidated over the past 24 hours. For now, BTC remains above $46,000 support, which could stabilize short-term pullbacks. CoinDesk's Dominic Dantes saying buyers will need to break above $55,000 resistance to yield further upside targets. Taking a look at our top stories, crypto CEOs testifying before the Congressional House Financial Services Committee. Some of the biggest minds in crypto, including FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, Circle CEO Jeremy Lair, and BITFURY Group CEO Brian Brooks, presented the merits of decentralization, Bitcoin, and answering some questions about the crypto space on Capitol Hill. The hearing just ended. Have a listen.
Bitcoin succeeded because there are literally millions of participants in the node network. And so there is no CEO of Twitter to deplatform you. There's no CEO of JP Morgan to take away your credit card. It's user controlled. Some of these won't achieve that. They'll be consigned to the ash heap of history, I predict.
The hearing in its tone was exploratory, with leading Republican House Representative Patrick McHenry remarking that, quote, policymakers need to understand the nature of Web3. The Senate Banking Committee will follow up with a hearing on stablecoins next Tuesday. Finally, CFTC Commissioner Don Stump saying U.S. regulators should issue clear guidance on how crypto rules will be enforced before punishing firms for not following them, according to the Financial Times. The point Stump raises represents the ongoing lack of clarity for crypto firms from U.S. regulators, particularly given the blurred lines between the purviews of financial regulators, the CFTC and SEC. Joining us now to discuss is CoinDesk Director of Professional Content, Galen Moore in Boston. Good afternoon, Galen. So taking a look at this hearing, it was a 5-hour-long hearing on Capitol Hill today. What were some of your main takeaways?
Look, Christine, I thought overall the tone of it was very positive. It was one of the, in terms of the substance of the hearing, one of the better of these congressional technology hearings that have become a regular feature. Often given to grandstanding and a misunderstanding of the technology underlying. I think, in this case, you saw legislators had done some homework. They were asking intelligent questions. I appreciated the sort of tone that most of them took of looking for ways to solve regulatory problems or ambiguities, and at the same time address some of the concerns that they had.
Yeah, I thought it was a productive hearing. There were clear explanations given. It felt exploratory, not antagonistic, and educational in the end. And it was great having clear, succinct, and knowledgeable representatives of crypto educating and answering questions on Capitol Hill. One standout to me was Brian Brooks. He was the former acting comptroller of the currency. And he spoke about, decentralization, as we heard from that clip there, decentralized exchanges, and how KYC, know your customer, personal identification may not be a good thing to require and possibly, impossible in truly decentralized exchanges.
No, I totally agree with you. Brian Brooks is a standout. Honestly, the industry is lucky to have him. And, I think, honestly, his comments were some of the rare comments from the panel of speakers that actually addressed real things that permissionless systems can deliver as guarantees to the user. You heard, for example, Jeremy Allaire from Circle talking about money operating at internet speed. I believe money already operates at internet speed. I don't have to worry about how many intermediaries there are between me and the other side of a Venmo transaction. But what we'd like to see talked about, right, are the ability to use money almost as cash, right? Cash-like properties on the internet. That's the innovation that Bitcoin brings, and that its successors and following and kind of imitators have brought along. I don't see people talking about that in a candid way in a setting like this, and I think there's a good reason for it. It's very difficult to talk about using cash digitally in that way without talking about some of the ways in which it might be misused. So there's a kind of an inherent tension there that is sort of the elephant in the room in these conversations. And while I did think it was very positive, I thought Brian Brooks's comments were among the few that really did address some of the ways in which those properties might actually be conveyed to an end user in a way that's meaningful.
Okay. Wait a second. Moving at internet speed, though, the current system that relies on bank settlements doesn't really move at internet speed in terms of the transactions are just like that. I mean, it takes, T plus 3 days or whatever to settle transactions. So every transaction we make with the credit card is pending.
I fund my Coinbase account via my bank account, and I'm able to trade instantly. Not every brokerage account works that way, but Coinbase does. Robinhood also enables me to do that. So I think there are ways to. Money moves pretty quickly over the internet. Yes, of course, right. Settlement of funds is the right instant or near instant settlement is one of the key things that Bitcoin brings. Let's actually talk about use cases where you might really want something like a cash transaction digitally.
Yeah.
I think for good reason. These, the panel that testified today was uncomfortable raising those use cases on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, in terms of the critics, AOC made a point that it's unclear what is backing some stablecoin. Stablecoin talk was on the radar of a lot of congressmen there. Brad Sherman made a point that crypto has no value. He doesn't like cryptocurrencies, of course, but
Brad Sherman is always a good sideshow in these hearings. Yes.
Yeah. So, and some cryptos are made out of from jokes. He referenced hamster coin Doge as well.
I would just point out that there is a SEC approved ETF that entered the market today where you can invest in meme stocks. So I don't understand how we need to be protected from Ottercoin or Badgercoin or whatever. And we don't need to be protected from, pumps on the regulated stock markets.
He was trying to make a point that the fees on exchanges are quite high, which I agree with. So on that point,
I do also agree with that.
Also,
yes.
It was very interesting, noteworthy to see Sam Bankman-Fried in a suit and tie. I believe we have a photo of that. He mentioned that he is talking to regulators around the world, 190 or so regulators, and trying to get as many licenses as possible. Now, this also caught my attention, his shoes. Now, we don't know if this is real, but this was tweeted out by CoinDesk, one of our editors, ZACK, SEWARD, which shows how, he may be a billionaire, but maybe billionaires don't need to know how to.
I want to believe in an America where somebody can attain the success that Sam Bankman-Fried has attained without ever tying a shoe. That's the America that I believe in. I didn't know it until today, but that is the America I believe in. That's the America I want to live in.
You could be very right-brained, or have a lot of talents in one area, but in the other, maybe it's unnecessary or unneeded. Galen, we got to wrap it there.
Slip-ons are fine.
Yes, slip-ons. We need to invent some professional slip-on shoes for SPF. All right, thank you, Galen. That was CoinDesk Director of Professional Content, Galen Moore. Coming up, Foundry launches a resale market for mining equipment.
Hey there, it's Zach Seward, co-host of The Hash and Deputy Global News Editor at CoinDesk. You're watching CoinDesk TV.
Welcome back. Digital asset mining and staking firm Foundry Digital has launched FoundryX, a new secondary marketplace for buying and selling Bitcoin mining machines. FoundryX has already secured more than 40,000 miners that are ready for resale through 2022. Foundry is a sister company of CoinDesk under parent company DCG. Joining us now to discuss is Foundry VP of Business Development, Jeff Berkey. Hello there, Jeff. So, first of all, I don't know if you had a chance to hear the hearing earlier in Congress, but I'm wondering what were some of your takeaways in terms of how it affects the industry?
Yeah, it's funny. So we haven't had a lot of time for the hearings today. It's been a pretty busy and hectic morning with the launch of FoundryX and the inquiries we're getting. But I did catch the segment prior to this, and I think that it's fantastic that people are down educating regulators, and both DCG and Foundry are helping to do the same. But I think we can all agree crypto and Bitcoin's not going away. And to that end, whether it's a publicly traded mining company or an energy company, they're going to need ASIC machines. And procuring them in the past has been a challenge, and we're here to sort of help mitigate that.
Can you give us a sort of macro view of the state of the Bitcoin network right now? What's mining profitability at, difficulty, hash rate?
Yeah, so we're sitting at, we have an internal debate on where hash rate's going to end up at the end of the year, but we have a lot of folks, pegging it at over 200. I think my guess was 177. I may be falling behind here, but I think we're sitting right around there now. And as these machines come largely to the U.S. and they start to get plugged in, difficulty is going to go up, and capacity is very constrained right now. So both the publicly traded miners and well-capitalized institutions, their appetite for machines is really just nothing short of staggering, really.
Let's talk about that appetite. So why is there a need right now for a secondary market to buy Bitcoin mining equipment?
Well, I think that, this is sort of a new moniker for us, and we're kind of coming out and letting the world know that we're in this space. But Foundry's been behind the scenes for the last year, really, doing this business and helping folks both scale their mining operations and also upgrade the current machines that they have installed. So a lot of these Chinese miners, for example, who are moving their operations overseas, as part of that, they're upgrading from the old generation equipment, the S9s, and they're looking to source new generation machines, the S19s, the M30s, M30S pluses, and so they want the most efficient machines that they can, because again, capacity is very constrained. So if you do have that hosting capacity, you want to put your very best machines in it.
Mm-hmm. And my understanding is that the supply chain is really clogged, and so the secondary market might help in that, and with dealing with inflation and the price of materials, that this is also a money saver.
Yeah, I think that like every other industry, we're struggling with those challenges. I think what helps Foundry is that we do work very closely with probably the best logistics company out there, and their ability to help us get machines delivered on time to our clients helps us, I think, stay competitive and make sure, become a reliable sourcing partner for our clients.
And with China's crackdown on mining this year, are you finding that a lot of these machines being sold for resale are coming from China or other parts of Asia in particular?
Yeah, we are seeing that. I mean, obviously, so we source some of our machines directly from the manufacturers, but then we also do have a large network of resellers. And so in some cases, these are brokers that are in the business of procuring miners from the manufacturer with the goal of reselling them. And so we have deep relationships with a pretty expansive network. And so if those miners can't find places to plug their machines in, the next best thing is to sell them. And so we can help them find buyers for those machines.
All right, Jeff, finding a cheaper, better way to sell some mining equipment. That was Foundry VP of Business Development, Jeff Berkey. Thanks for joining us. All right, that's it for All About Bitcoin. I'm your host, Christy Lee, and we'll do it all over again tomorrow at 3 o'clock in New York. Join us tomorrow morning as well at 9 a.m. for First Mover. You're watching CoinDesk TV.